Let's go Giants. Let's go Giants. Let's go Giants. SF Giants fan visits every MLB stadium. I think that has a good ring to it. What do you think? As I've mentioned in my previous blog, I love to travel. And one of the ways I've gotten creative with my travel is by going to at least one away game every season to see my San Francisco Giants play a different team, different city, different ballpark. And as you see from behind me, and I'll give you guys a close-up, I have this Major League Ballparks, it's called a Major League Ballparks scratch-off chart. So every time I visit a new stadium, I scratch off the picture and it changes color. This journey of me traveling to different ballparks started over a decade ago. I mean, I've been a lifelong Giants fan. I'm born and raised in San Francisco, fortunate to still live. I frequent the games here in the city. Although due to the pandemic, it's been a while since I've gone. I think I've only gone to 2 games in the last 4 years. But this is also a way for me to stay accountable with going to more games this season, supporting my team, and getting back on the road and seeing them play in another city. Let me know if you've done this or if you are going to start this. I think it's a cool way to travel, again, to create different memories, to associate it with something and players or teams that you love. It's memorable, it's exciting, you're guaranteed a new experience every single time. And it's less overwhelming. Honestly, when you're traveling, I know it gets overwhelming. I don't know where to go. I don't know the people. At least in a sports environment and a contained environment, you know what to expect. So the pressure's off. All you have to do is show up and cheer. I will say it's important, as I mentioned in my other travel video, to respect the people, respect the culture, and just be kind. Just be kind. It is a risk showing up to different stadiums wearing orange and black and holding up my posters or my scarf or wearing my jerseys. It's a bold statement, believe me. But I survived the Los Angeles Dodgers Stadium, LA Dodgers. And in fact, please don't come for me. I know I'm saying this publicly, but they probably had one of the nicest ballparks I've been to. One of, not the nicest. Not going to give you guys all the credit, okay? I think it's a fun idea to make that a part of your journey, whether it's your favorite artist, musician, podcaster, sports team. There's so many different ways that we can travel. And for me, I've chosen this. And also, I'm a big Beyonce fan. I do my best to see her every time she's here in the Bay Area. And then just recently, I saw her the first time in a different city. So I feel like this is going to be a new tradition with my favorite artists, my favorite sports teams. And even though I am a Niners fan and a Warriors fan, WNBA fan, we're getting a team next year. So I think that's going to be so dope. So far, I've only committed to baseball being my on-road, where I keep track of things. Have I seen the Warriors play out of town? No, I have not. I've seen the Niners play in New Orleans, and honestly, I don't think anything can top that. Unless I go to one of those freezing cold games in like Green Bay or Chicago just for the experience, going to the Superdome should be on everyone's list. Whether you like football or not, or even better if you have a favorite team. The Superdome, just the energy, the people were so nice, the environment, and it was a close game. And everyone was just so respectful of the score. It didn't care if we were up or down. It was just a fun time. And we got our tickets at the last minute. And it was like a sea of red and gold. But all of that to say, traveling to see people, teams that you love and enjoy really enhances the traveling experience. I can't stress that enough, and how many of my best memories are tied to going to different games and cheering and being sad that they lost and having to take long train rides back to the hotel because your team just lost, or they just won and you're just hyped and you're like, where's the after party, right? So let's get into the ballparks that I have been to. So this is the American League side and this is the National League side. So we'll start with American. I've been to Fenway in Boston, Yankee Stadium in New York, the Bronx. Shout out to J-Lo. If you know, you know. JK. St. Petersburg, Florida. I went to Tropicana Field. And then Anaheim, Angel Stadium, and Oakland to see the Oakland A's. So now those are the only ones I've seen in the American League. Down here in the National League, I've been to Citi Field, which is in Queens, New York, to see the Mets. And I saw the Mets and the Yankees in the same week. The Giants were playing them all at once, and that was dope to just knock out two at once. And it was the first time I ever had Shake Shack. Changed my life. So then I've also been to the Nationals ballpark in DC, Washington, DC. The best freaking donuts. And this was probably my most fun experience because we got stuck in a lightning storm and I'd never seen rain so hard in my life, ever. And they delayed the game. I hope I still have clips, but we just had to stand in the hallways, you know, the walkways. It was just packed with people and just waiting for the rain and the lightning and the thunder to go away, which it eventually did, but it was like 2 hours later. Wrigley Field in Chicago, truly the best hot dogs, hands down. Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. It was hot. It was very, very hot. And down here is Dodger Stadium in LA, very nice field. Petco in San Diego, best micheladas. And of course, down here we have the home team, San Francisco Giants, here in San Francisco. So it was really cool. Like when I went to Anaheim, we were at Disneyland for the day, and then in the evening we went to the game, and then after the game we went back to Disneyland. It was really cool. We made the best of it and got hella done in one trip. I will say Florida and Arizona. Between Arizona and Florida, those were the two most miserable weather because it was just so hot. It was so hot. And the Florida game was indoors and it was still just like so humid, you know, and then you go outside and it's just like walking into a furnace. When it comes to buying tickets, honestly, we just get a ticket in the park. We're not looking for premium. We're not looking for even really the cheapest. Really just a decent ticket in the park. So when we do feel like sitting down, we have good seats. Unless it's like a special event, like a birthday, then the people that I used to go to the games with, we would get pretty decent seats. So then that way, you know, we could spend majority of the time sitting and enjoying the game. But typically we're either buying the tickets right before the game or a week in advance because they usually drop in price as well. So then that way we're not stuck with paying premium price months in advance when we don't have to, because that's the beauty about baseball games. They rarely ever sell out. And if you just want a ticket in, you could usually spend about $30 or less. I've even gotten tickets for like $5 at a time, even to see the Giants here in San Francisco. It just depends on who they're playing, when they're playing, their record, obviously. But generally, on the minimum, you're paying about $20 just to get in. And you could buy standing room tickets. You can buy upper reserve. It's all up to you and your budget. But you don't have to break the bank in order to go to one of these games. In terms of food, as I mentioned, as I was pointing out the different ballparks, a few things that stood out to me. But there wasn't really a major league ballpark so far where I was like, damn, this food is like the best I've ever had, or this was like a standout dish. Like, you're gonna go to these ballparks and they're all gonna have pretty much the same things, like the hot dogs, burgers, nachos, right? And if you're into the nachos and the hats, you can collect those. Or what I like to do is collect, obviously, the ticket stubs. But for sure, I try to get like a button or certificate saying like, this was my first game at XYZ ballpark. Consider that as like a mission of yours when you're at these different ballparks to get your certificate. They're not just reserved for children and babies. Big grown people like myself can also get them and have. So that's a cool part of it. You just got to go to customer service and request it. Easy as that. And to me, I think Wrigley Field had the most history, as well as Fenway. I think between those two ballparks, you really just felt the history and just the vibe and the energy of just such a historical place. So if I were to go back to any of those, I'd probably go back to Chicago, because Chicago, and I still need to go see the White Sox anyway, but Chicago ended up being one of my favorite cities outside of San Francisco, New Orleans, anywhere in Hawaii. I really love going to Chicago. And I've only went once, but I had an amazing time. So when I go see the White Sox, I'll let you guys know on how that goes. But for now, I'm going to bring it back. I'm bringing it back. We're going to get some scratch offs this season. I'm hoping to close off the whole west coast of Ballparks, the only one I have left, which I can scratch off half of it. I've been to Seattle, but I went during the pandemic, so the ballpark was closed. I just stood outside of it and took pictures. You know, growing up, I was a huge King Griffey Jr. fan, so I got to take a picture outside in front of his statue, but there was no game happening. So I've kind of been there, but I haven't been inside. And it's huge. Like, it's one of the biggest stadiums I've ever seen. I definitely want to do that this year, and then hopefully I can get an American League game in there as well. So stay tuned. And if you have any questions, or if you want to join me on this fun travel experience, let me know. And if you have visited all the ballparks, what were your highlights? And I'm thinking now I might do some sort of like rating system, or maybe some sort of like every hot dog from every stadium, or trying every garlic fry, if they have garlic fries, or whatever their specialty for the city. How are their hot dogs, the views, the location, the traffic? I think I'll do some sort of like ranking system so you guys can have a better understanding of how it's going to be when you visit these ballparks, like even cost and price of parking, or is public transportation an option? Yeah, I think that's going to be a cool project that I'll work on. So stay tuned for that. This is a big goal of mine that I'm reviving. It's been 4 years since I've been on road to go see an away Giants game. And if it's a ballpark that I want to go to that the Giants aren't playing at that season, then I probably will still go. And I'm going to count that as well. I'm not going to just only go when the Giants are playing, but of course that is priority. Just wanted to let you guys know that this is another fun way that you can travel. Again, going to see your faves. Who are your faves? And then just follow them on the road. It's a good time because you're getting a different experience, a different team. You know, even when I saw Beyonce here in the Bay Area and in LA, she did 2 different sets. I'm just throwing it out there. Don't sleep on following your faves. But with that said, go Giants, BLA for life. Until the next episode, thank you for watching. Subscribe, follow. It's your girl Lils, aka Lily Like the Flower, aka Fire. See ya.